Hey everybody, welcome to WP Roundtable episode 109. My name is Kyle Maurer, coming to you from Jackson, Michigan, doing WordPress stuff here and loving it. My guest today is John Parkinson from Ohio. How you doing this evening, John?
I'm doing great, Kyle. Good to see you again, my friend, and always good to talk to you.
Likewise, John. It is always a pleasure to encounter you. We bump into each other fairly regularly, being in neighboring states and being lovers of WordCamps. So we have collaborated and worked together and enjoyed each other's company on a number of occasions, and it's been a blast. And I will probably be seeing you several more times this year, to which I'm quite excited. All right, so we're going to learn all about John Parkinson, what you do, how you're involved in the WordPress community in just a moment. First, we're going to touch on our quick picks of the week. Mine this week is something that's been happening on the meta side of WordPress. By meta, I mean there is a team of volunteers known as the Meta Team. They are one of 14 different teams that make up the WordPress community project. And the Meta Team is responsible for the websites that power the WordPress project. The main website would be WordPress.org, and many others would include WordPress.tv, WordCamp.org, jobs.wordpress.net, and the forums, and a number of others. So recently, the Meta Team has been busy at work, basically reinventing the plugin repository, or the design specifically. And so it's been an effort on two fronts. Number one has been the redesign and re-architecting of the visual front end for people browsing the repository to find new plugins. And another has been a bit of a re-engineering of the back end so that there's somewhat of a new experience for plugin authors managing their plugins. So this is really big on a number of fronts, and it is extremely encouraged that anyone involved in WordPress in any way take the time out of their day, the little bit of time it takes to go and view the work that everyone on that team has been doing and provide input. Maybe share some ideas, maybe share some feedback. Just simple feedback like, I like it, or I like this aspect, or that would be valuable to me, is useful to the team. Or pointing out things that may have been missed. There's a lot of discussion that's going on, but it's still not enough considering the importance of this part of the project. I'm particularly excited about the back end. I don't really use the front end for browsing for plugins all that much, but I know a lot of other people do. But the back end for plugin authors is pretty exciting because now, for the first time ever, plugin authors are going to have a WP admin interface for managing their plugins to some degree. Not a lot of controls exist there, but some simple things like the categorization of those plugins and some other information like the stats and data are available to plugin authors there in an admin interface, which was previously handled through the readme.txt file included in the plugin. That's a bit of a cumbersome experience, and that will be supported backwards, but this admin interface is kind of the future, and this is a baby step towards a much better experience for plugin authors in the future, as I've talked with people like Otto and Konstantin Oberland about where things are going, and it's very exciting. There's a brighter day ahead of us for plugin authors. John, do you have any quick picks to share with us today?
Absolutely. Actually, I have two, Kyle. I have used this plugin for probably at least 2 years, maybe 3. It is called MapPress Easy Google Maps. And it allows you to embed Google Maps onto a post or a page. I use it almost on a weekly basis. Now, even though it's not new, it is up to date. And on, I think it was June 30th, Google changed their API for this plugin. And the plugin author, let me grab his name real quick, Chris Richardson, had an update on his plugin, and the instructions were fantastic. I can't say enough about that. Told you where to go on your Google account to grab the API, where to insert it in his plugin, and it was just fantastic. I can't say enough about how he handled this change that was implemented by Google with their API. So kudos to him. I made a donation for the plugin after that, and that's something that I rarely do, but I really need to start doing that on a more consistent basis just because they deserve it. You know, it's a free plugin on the repository, but you know, they deserve a few bucks for their hard work. My second pick is actually a adult beverage, a Sierra Nevada Stout. Very good, very cold, and it's best West Coast style stout. It's very good. I have enjoyed one or two of these every month. I don't drink a lot of alcoholic beverages, but I really like the taste of this. It's somewhat bitter and takes a little bit of getting used to, but very good. 2 thumbs up, and you can find the affiliate link on my website. No, I'm just teasing.
That's great. You're talking my language now, John.
I know that, yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge fan, and I haven't tried that particular variety. My wife and I brewed some stouts of our own this year, and I'm a big fan of that, that dark brew. But I'm gonna have to try that out. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, it has a somewhat of an aftertaste, but very enjoyable.
Oh, perfect. I will check it out. And that's an awesome quick pick. So let's learn a little bit more about you, John, and we're going to talk about how you are involved in the community and some of the cool things that you do and the cool things you're trying to accomplish that I think are quite exciting. So I hope everybody sticks around for it.
Okay, well, first I want to thank you for inviting me onto your webcast. When you had first contacted me after your show last week, I was somewhat taken aback, and I'm thinking he is definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel. There is a plugin developer and a doctor, and then followed by me. But thank you for the invitation. I'll try not to disappoint. I've been involved in technology in one way or the other for a long time. I first got interested in computers when I was in high school. There was a computer class that still had the card readers, card punch and card readers. I had no interest whatsoever in that. And kind of reading the technical articles that were available at that time, I knew that something was afoot. I can remember reading about the Adair, I think it was the name of the one of the very first home computers. And then, of course, the Apple came out, followed shortly by the IBM and then the IBM clones. And the first desktop that I actually worked with was a Tandy Radio Shack Model 1. Everything was external. The monitor was separate, of course. The CPU was a separate unit. I don't think when it first came out it had any hard drives, but you could put 2 floppies on it. And the program language I first got involved with was BASIC, of course. Built a surveying program using that. Moved on to a Epson that was running CPM 80. Moved from that point to a multi-user system that was again built by Tandy, and that was a Unix system, and created a payroll and a accounts payable system. Worked with surveying field for several years. Was involved with GPS units at that time, which just got better and better. Very, very complex calculation using position and time. But there was the computers to do all that work for you. My actual experience with WordPress began in 2010. I belonged to a tech organization at the time, and the local chapter located in Wheeling, West Virginia. Myself and a good friend of mine, John Sterrett, put our heads together and said that we had to do something about the HTML website. And he asked me to check out Joomla and WordPress. So I found a way to load a local version of Joomla. I did not like it right off the bat. Did the same thing with WordPress, and that's kind of how I got my start. So, and that was probably 3.0, maybe 3.2, maybe even a little bit earlier. But that's how I got started in WordPress. And I need to tell you up front, I am a user. I am not a developer or designer. So, and as far as getting involved in the community, my first WordCamp was at Columbus in 2010. And that was actually a combined PodCamp and WordCamp. They had, it was just one day. They had probably 4 or 5, well, there was probably 2 tracks running, maybe 3, but it was pretty much equally divided with podcasting and WordPress. And sat in on sessions of both. I was actually interested in podcasting more at that time, but that kind of helped kickstart what I was using WordPress for at that time.
Awesome. So tell me, just get us caught up a little bit with today. What sort of things do you do with WordPress right now?
As far personally, I have my work website, which I probably spend, depending on what's going on, 4 to 8 hours a week. And I have 2 sites that I maintain for organizations. And there again, I kind of build it, turn it over to them. If they have any issues, they contact me and I'll try to figure it out or try to find a solution or somebody that can help them. And I have 2 or 3 of my own sites that I maintain. I haven't been very good about blogging or any new content. I have, since I became involved with WordPress TV in 2014, that has pretty much been my focus as far as any interest and work on WordPress.
Let's talk a little bit about WordPress TV. What got you involved in it originally?
Well, I was looking for a way to give back to the community. I would attend maybe 2, possibly 3 WordCamps a year. This would have been 2011, 2012. I went to Nashville, Buffalo, Columbus, and then when they got started, Dayton and North Canton at the time. That has since changed names to next year. It's going to be WordCamp Kent. And I would help at the registration tables, things like that. Even try to speak. Wasn't always chosen, but I understand that. I didn't have a lot of experience at the time. And was just looking for a way to give back more time to the community. And did some checking around, looked at the different communities on the make.wordpress.org site, and figured that I might be able to help out at WordPress TV, and contacted them. Jerry Bates, who is the lead or the co-lead, got back in touch with me, and I started off moderating the videos that had been submitted to the WordPress.tv website, checking them for quality, trying to find slides if they were not inserted into the videos, checking the data, descriptions, links for the slides, things like that. And kind of moved on to working with the raw videos, creating the intro and outro panels, adding slides if they were needed, and then uploading those to the WordPress.tv website. I've had a blast. I experienced, probably in March, a period of burnout, but there was just a lot of things going on, and I just took a step away for a couple of weeks and didn't really pay any attention to anything that was going on at WordPress TV, and was able to get right back into it. I feel fortunate that I dodged the bullet there. So that's been keeping me busy.
That's remarkable, John. So tell me a little bit about what is going on today with WordPress TV.
Okay. Well, The team, which is made up of maybe 6 or 7 people, like I said, Jerry Bates is one of the leads. Michael Wigginton is another, and they are the cruel taskmasters that feed the workers bits of food and throw shiny objects our way to keep our attention. But they're fantastic. I mean, anytime there's an issue, you can contact them and it's quickly addressed. They're always looking for input. One of the things that came up recently was, well, let's go back 6 or 8 months. Last year, the effort was started to contact the upcoming WordCamps and asked if they had any questions or issues or anything concerning the foundation camera kits that were being sent out to the WordCamps. And I started to take that project on. I would contact a WordCamp 6 to 8 weeks before their event, ask if there was any questions. It was kind of a standard phrasing that I would use for each one. And if I needed to, I could tailor it to each person. And then about 2 weeks before, I would just check back with them. And then 2 weeks after, I would ask for any feedback or suggestions that they had about the camera kits or the setups or how they were packed or anything like that. It worked out pretty good. That has since been folded into the WordCamp Central. So I'm guessing that worked out to a certain extent, and it was automated by being taken over by the WordCamp Foundation. More recently, the blog, which had been inactive for a year and a half, maybe more, was restarted. Jerry Bates is contributing once a week to that effort, and I have been doing interviews with just a variety of people. I talked to Chris Lemma at WordCamp Northeast Ohio. Adam Warner was there. Shelby Elliott. Those were all up on the WordPress.tv blog page. And I've got 2 others in reserve right now. I also, the latest one, I talked to a lady in Japan by the name of Naoko Takano. And she had attended WordCamp Europe, very active in the Japanese WordPress community, and just had a lot of great things to say. And so I'm trying very, very hard to get a mix of non-US interviews as well as people that might be termed well-known in the WordPress world. So I'm trying to get a real good mix, users, experts, whatever you want to call them. So I've got some exciting stuff. To me, I hope it will be exciting coming up here in the next few weeks.
So in review, we've got the blog, we've got your video interviews that are going up, and we have the outreach program that has been moved into WordCamp Central. And what did I miss?
Well, now that you mention that, Michael Wigginton is also doing a follow-up with what was folded into WordCamp Central and contacting the video wrangler for each WordCamp. That is something new that was added just a few months ago, where you have a team lead or the WordCamp leader. You might have the sponsor leader and several other positions. Now there is a video person that has to be named when you fill out your information for a WordCamp. And he is contacting them direct, again, just making sure, asking if they need anything, if there's any concerns. And I think he is doing a great job at that. Michael does a fantastic amount of work. He does not get paid enough. I know that.
Oh, I completely agree with you. It is remarkable and such a blessing for the community.
Yes.
What Michael does. He is among those unsung heroes, of which many on the WordPress TV team I would classify as well, yourself included.
Well, I appreciate that, and you too. I mean, a lot of people that are involved in the make.wordpress.org, different communities there. There are a lot of fantastic people involved in this thing that we call WordPress. Just boggles my mind sometimes, and it's worldwide. Um, that is something that I have an issue trying to wrap my head around, and just thinking, oh my goodness, there's people all over the place, the globe, that work in different time zones but are able to collaborate and get stuff done. What is wrong with where I work at, where it takes months to get anything done sometimes? So,
it's remarkable sometimes that volunteer-run work can be so challenging and frustrating, but for some reason, the WordPress project, so many community initiatives work so well, and WordPress moves forward and continues to increase its market share as a content management system, and it continues to be spread word of mouth throughout the entire world. How is it that this volunteer-run community open source project, totally put together by volunteers, is being so successful? I don't understand.
I would hate to see somebody try to analyze this and put it into a business model, and try to make all this make sense and make money. I think they would fall very short of trying to come up with anything that could compete with the type of teamwork that takes place within the WordPress community.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. That it's fascinating, but so many people on the outside just can't understand, why would we do this? I remember when I finished my business degree from college, I had many principles ingrained in the way that I thought, and I came into this world of WordPress on the fringe, using this solution and all of these free plugins, and racking my brain trying to figure out how this works. Why does anyone just release their plugin for free? That doesn't make sense. They're profiting from this somehow, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I guess I was lucky in one aspect. I was involved in organizing a couple of events here in, I think it was 2009 and 2010. There is an organization called PASS, and I think that stands for Professional Association SQL Server, and they have these one-day events called SQL Saturdays. It's a unconference, if you want to call it that. There are several tracks. You can pay $20. Some of them are absolutely free. They have sponsors. They have a speaker dinner the night before. They have a after party. Does any of this sound familiar?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I first got, and it was all, Microsoft SQL Server. And I met some people there. And so when I got involved in WordPress and saw the similarities between the two, I'm going, okay, I kind of understand a little bit of what's going on here as far as the community. They have the same type of thing. Excuse me. I think they have a national. It's been a long time since I've really paid any attention to that organization, but they have a national conference where several thousand, show up at. I'm thinking maybe 4,000 or 5,000. They really have to have a huge venue to make that thing work. But there's something else that not exactly. And they have a. You have to be cleared to have one of these SQL Saturday events. You have to provide proof that you kind of know what you're doing. You have to have a venue. You have to prove that you can get the not only the speakers but also a good crowd. We were the 36th SQL Saturday and I believe the first one east of the Mississippi in 2009. That kind of fell by the wayside after 2010 when my friend moved to Texas. But I think now they're up to like 600 or 700 of these events, and they just continue to count. They started off at 1, and now it's up to like the 600th SQL Saturday. They don't call them cities or start over every year with number 1. It's just a continuation, the way they number them. But yeah, kind of amazing that there's more than one organization, and probably more that kind of use the same system, if you want to call it that. I'm not going to say model, but there are several tracks during one day, possibly 2, entertainment, and a little bit of a benefit for a speaker, having a dinner to go to the night before the event, things like that. So I kind of got used to that before I was involved in WordPress.
Let's talk a little bit about the WordPress.tv blog.
Okay.
I want to know how progress has been coming along with that, and the conversation amongst the team about what content should be distributed there, and why the WordPress TV blog is so significant.
Well, I can't really answer that last question. I do know that it has seen a significant amount of traffic. If you don't mind, I will try to pull that up in just a second.
I can say one thing, that the WordPress.tv blog is among the short list of sites included in the Planet WordPress feed.
Oh, okay.
That's significant because there, in every WordPress install, is a dashboard widget.
Yes.
Formerly called Planet WordPress, but now called WordPress News, if I recall correctly. And so that listing,
I believe,
will include a number of sites like Post Status, WP Tavern, Matt's blog, and WordPress TV, a number of others. Some are not so active anymore. But getting WordPress.tv blog posts in there is pretty significant and does drive some traffic. So for myself and my good friend Adam the other day observed that there was a link to a blog post on Adam Silver, my good friend.
Oh, him.
Yes. We observed that there was a blog post that featured a video we were in. We did a presentation at WordCamp Ann Arbor last year, and it was a featured video. And then a blog post went out on the WordPress.tv blog, and I remarked to him that a link to a video of us just went out to millions and millions of sites. There are millions of websites right now who, when logging into the dashboard, site admins will see a link to a post that features us. So that's pretty unbelievable reach, and the WordPress.tv blog, any blog in Planet WordPress, has incredible reach beyond just those of us immersed in the WordPress community, but just every WordPress user has the potential to encounter this content.
And I know that, of course, the first blog post that Jerry Bates put out, of course, the traffic jumped because it wasn't seeing hardly any traffic prior to his first post. And I can't remember exactly what kind of numbers we're getting, probably 500 to 700 a day. But I'm sure that, when those numbers would increase when it is showing up in the admin area of any WordPress website. And Jerry is, just to give you an example, he is doing like 4 different things each month. He is having a staff pick. There is focusing on one WordCamp and picking a couple of different videos to come out of that camp. Most popular, and you are right, from WordCamp Ann Arbor 2015. there is you and Adam, but also Mika Epstein with her plugin review demystified, and like I said, spotlighting different WordCamps, different videos, most popular. Uh, Throwing out some information for developers, users, and just trying to give it a good overall mix. Now, he is doing that once a week on Fridays. Right now, I am uh, getting out video interviews once every 2 weeks, kind of depending on if I can kind of get in a set routine. Uh, um, I might increase that to one a week. It seems like it takes a while to line up a couple of people, and then I'll do two quick ones. I did two last Thursday evening, or I'm sorry, last Tuesday, and that was Matt Cromwell and Topher DeRoja. And I did those about an hour apart, so I have two that I can put up next Tuesday. Kind of see how things go, and I may just start doing one or two every week if I can get a few built up, and have a couple spare in the hopper.
That's fantastic. And excellent work that you're doing, John, with that. I think that those video intros are very impressive and informative. And the effort with the blog is very exciting because this is a potential to expose a lot of content in front of a broader audience than ever before, where WordPress.tv is something relatively unknown in the broader community and something that only those of us truly immersed in it understand and value. But it's really broadening its reach, which is very exciting to me. I know that the views of our video, of our talk at our little camp last year, were very significant, and it has, last I checked, was the 29th most viewed video in the past year.
Wow.
Out of 4,866 videos. So that's up against a lot of very popular videos. There are state of the word videos and WordPress release videos that are watched by millions of people. So to get that many views was really significant and made us both maybe wish that we'd done a better job in our presentation, because you never know when something's going to get exposed to potentially millions of different WordPress users. So
exactly.
It's pretty cool that you're working so hard on that. And it was fairly stagnant for a long time.
Yeah. And really through nobody's fault, just I think being overwhelmed. The person that was in charge of that, and too many irons in the fire. But it's got a new start. And I think that if anybody has any suggestion for what they would want to see as far as the blog or as far as the video interviews, please use the contact form on the WordPress.tv/blog site page, and use the contact page there and drop us a line, and we will most certainly read that. I check it at least 2 times a week. Don't be afraid to, throw some idea out. One thing I wanted to say, I have a little note that I put up in the corner of my screen that says, it's not about me. It's about, who I'm interviewing. It says it's not about you. So keep your mouth shut, ask a question, and then listen.
That's really good advice. I think I'm going to try and take that to heart. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Okay. So WordPress.tv, a lot of good things are happening. The team is kind of slowly growing. Some new projects are being taken on. Content is being distributed in some new exciting ways. How can somebody get involved in WordPress.tv if they wanted to participate and help some of these things move along? Because truth is, a lot of things do still move slowly. There are a lot of videos to moderate. There are a lot of posts that could be published. There are a lot of development projects that could help to move the site forward. There are a lot of outreach initiatives that could be done to help more WordCamps actually produce quality video and get it on the internet. What do you think about putting out a call for help.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, one of our volunteers, Oleg, I cannot remember his last name off the top of my head. He was at WordCamp Europe. He headed up the WordPress TV Contributor Day on Sunday at that WordCamp, and he brought in, I'm thinking, 4 or 5 people that were interested in different aspects. Some of the people have started to moderate videos, download, and produce the videos. 1 or 2, I do believe, are in the transcribing. That's not the right term? Oh shoot. Ends up with a text file that plays along with the video. Kyle, help me out here. I'm on brain freeze. Not transcribing. I've got mind blocked. But anyhow, transcripting the audio into a text file, and then that can be converted into a different languages even. And and we have other great Oleg is located in Italy. We have Eman Webb in I do believe Las Vegas. Seymour Tashan. Closed captioning. Thank you. A message from our friend Adam Silver. And popping up when you least expect him.
Yeah, he loves to do that.
Yes. Oh shoot, I know I'm going to forget somebody. There's yourself and Ben Cool, and working on the YouTube uploader. I do believe there's probably close to 800 videos that have been manually uploaded to the YouTube channel for WordPress. And then I'm trying to think some of the other ones. Daggone it. Refresh my memory here.
The individuals involved. We've had a number of people involved in the WordPress TV team over the years, and some people come in and out as their availability changes. So talk a little bit more about how one gets involved and what happens week to week, maybe the meetings.
Okay. Well, we have the P2 page on make.wordpress.org/TV. You can read that, get a feel for kind of what's going on. You can also you can send a request there. You can send a request to the WordPress or WPTV Slack channel, and there's people that will join there and contribute for just their WordCamp, and that's fantastic. They'll work on 20 or 30 videos, and then maybe show up again next year, and that's fantastic. Just having one local person to handle all of the videos from one WordCamp is a tremendous help. People that upload to the Amazon server, there's all kind of aspects, the moderating, the post-processing, just the transcribing. They can get in touch with the team at the P2 page or on the WordPress.tv contact page. And you don't have to know anything about video to contribute. I know very, very little, and I'm learning every month as I work on videos or go to a WordCamp and try to help run the cameras. And it's working out better every time, it seems like. I'm learning more and meeting more fantastic people. So, yeah, it's a blast. And you don't have to feel intimidated. And like I said, before we started the broadcast, I tried to get into the core group, and they wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to make an impact within the TV team because there's a lot of work and only a few people doing it.
Yep.
But I think it does make a big impact. The TV team does some amazing work, and the video that is produced has some incredible content, makes a difference to a lot of people, can really educate the community very well.
Mm-hmm.
When you are out at events and you talk about WordPress.tv with people, what's your comment on what level of awareness people have about this great resource and what maybe misconceptions they have about it?
Well, I think one misconception is that there are a lot of people volunteering. Just from some of the comments I get, or I remember this from last year. One particular WordCamp, the videos were not showing up 6 or 7 months after their WordCamp. And we had never received any of the files, post-processed or raw. So it was like almost 9 months after this one fairly large event that the videos started to show up in our at the site, and then had to be moderated and then published. So I think the misconception is that a week after the event, you're going to start seeing the WordPress or the videos on the WordPress.tv website. That is not the case the majority of the time. About the only time you might see that is after WordCamp Europe or WordCamp US. And those are paid production companies, and they get those out pretty quick and they start getting uploaded. And I'm trying to think how many were at each of those events. Had to be 60 or 80 videos from each of those events. So yeah, that was a big undertaking. I'm glad they had a professional company take care of that. Another one is you can just set up a camera, turn it on, let it run, and it'll work. That very rarely is the case. You need some forethought, but there's a lot of good information on the Make website. If you go to WordPress.org and get involved and go to the TV page, there is a link in the middle of the page near the top says Get Started Here. And there's a 20 maybe articles or posts about what you need to do to get set up, what comes in the camera kit, what you can expect to happen, what to look for when you're doing your setup, things like that. Another thing is they haven't been used that often is the live streaming kits. And that pretty much just takes another set of volunteers, and you need a pretty good size pipe coming out of your event to get those out to where they run pretty decently. You're pushing a lot of content out via video and audio, and it doesn't take too much of a stranglehold to start affecting that and making it look bad. So if you do use it, you want to check with your venue and make sure you have enough access to be able to push that out.
Absolutely. And I agree with you that there do seem to be quite a few interesting misconceptions about what goes on the TV team. A lot of conversations that I have in person with people, it's surprising what expectations there are that videos will be produced soon or released or whose responsibility it is. Mm-hmm. And the sad reality is there are a lot of videos that get, a lot of sessions that don't get recorded at events and a lot of recordings that never get published.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. What would your comment be on the state of that situation, maybe what's being done to address it, and what are the root causes behind the fact that so many sessions never get online?
Yeah, let me address that one first. I think that has to do with the inexperience of the people that may be put in the position to set up the cameras, to make sure they're working, um, make sure that there's a power supply to keep the battery charged on the cameras, things like that. And I'll just something that happened up at Northeast Ohio. I bought 2 sets of batteries, the 9-volt batteries. There was 3 wireless units, wireless mics, and I bought one for the receiver, one for the transmitter, and I bought enough to power those, a fresh set in the morning and a fresh set in the afternoon. I would guess that the majority of failed videos had to do with batteries dying in the middle of a presentation, or the people not making themselves clear on is the transmitter on, is it off, is the receiver on, is the video on, things like that. Now, I think the effort that has been put forth in the last couple years is showing some in the amount of videos that have been published in 2014 and 2015. Last year, there were 1,477 videos published on WordPress TV. That was from 89 WordCamps and probably a handful of meetups and maybe some people that submitted a how-to video. But I'm going to say that was probably less than 10 or 15 total. So we had 1,477 videos from 89 WordCamps, the most WordCamps ever since WordPress got started, almost evenly split between US WordCamps and non-US WordCamps. That is a 50% increase over the videos that were submitted and published in 2013. So there were less than 700 videos published in 2013. And I think with the effort that the WordPress TV team has put forth in making the camera kits easier to work with, making information available in the camera kits, and this is all due basically as far as the camera kits to Michael Wigginton. He has QR codes on all of the equipment. He has the equipment color coded so that you know that whatever comes out of this box goes back into that box. Here's the transmitter, the wireless mics that go with this kit and this tripod and this bracket. I think a tremendous amount of the credit goes to him. And then the people that have written the how-to documents and even the how-to videos that are on the WordPress.tv website. So, I think this effort that has been going on for over 2 years now has a lot to do with the number of videos that are getting published. The quality is better. You're still going to have places that it's just not suitable to shoot video. Sunlight streaming through a window that is in back of the speaker, that's never going to work. Things like that. So, but it is improving. I look for it to continue to improve. Excited for the future.
It is very exciting. That I think the team is doing a lot to correct this issue. It's been something that has been profoundly irritating to me, and I think a lot of other people. The fact that so much can be put into these events and these presentations. I, for one, am a frequent speaker at WordCamps and work very hard on the presentations that I put together. Yeah. And it is so disappointing to finally get to that day where you're putting on the session. And I've had all of the following. Someone forgot to hit the record button. The camera died. The files were corrupted after the session. Nobody ever even bothered to set up the cameras in the first place.
Oh,
Nobody
man.
turned
Yeah.
on the microphones so you couldn't hear my recording, lighting issues, so many other things, little, simple, easily corrected mistakes resulting in no one else getting to see the session.
Yeah. Yep.
Simple things.
And you are correct. I was involved in one of those episodes where, somehow the transmitter got turned on, the receiver was turned off, and didn't.
My fault, I'm sure.
No. We'll blame Adams. He sabotaged you.
Yes.
But yeah, I think things are. It's always exciting to sit in on some of these Slack meetings. I will lurk, if you will, on the training, the some of the other the forums, the outreach, the events, even core and docs and plugins, and I'll just sit there if I have and just read and follow along. I don't actually offer anything of value, but it's just very interesting to see what's going on with the other teams. So, and that's another thing that I hope to accomplish with these video interviews is talk with people in each one of those groups, and just to let a user know what is going on in core and having that explained in layman terms. The same thing with the polyglots and the themes and the plugins. There's a lot going on out there that most people never see. So I'm really excited about what is laying ahead for us. Really looking forward to it.
So am I. We're getting pretty close to running out of time here, John, and we've talked about a lot of things. We'll just touch on a few more before we wrap up our evenings. So tell me a little bit about what is on your calendar for the rest of the year and where someone might bump into John.
Well, I hate to do this, but for the first time since 2010, I am not going to be able to attend WordCamp Columbus.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That is, of course, where I got my start in 2011. I submitted to speak, and Angie Meeker must have been having a high fever. She accepted my presentation. And a funny story to go along with that, it was a Friday when I spoke. Unknown to me, that was I think it's called WordPress 101. It's anybody that showed up on Friday got an all-day sessions on beginning WordPress. And I did pretty close to an hour presentation. Unknown to me, they were basically a captive audience. So the next time I submitted, I got in on a Saturday. I can't remember where it was at. And I think Pippin was speaking in the room next to me, and I had 3 people. So my ego took a big plunge.
You can't fault yourself too much for that.
No. But other than missing WordCamp Columbus, I'm hoping to make Ann Arbor. That would be 3 in a row, and planning on bringing my son Michael. He enjoys seeing you and Ben and Adam and some of the other people that we have met there. He just has a fantastic time. And here again, my son is 34 years old. He's mentally handicapped. Really don't notice it to look at him. But after you talk for a little while, it's kind of evident. But the WordPress community has taken him in with open arms, and sometimes it just brings me to tears thinking about hearing him talk about you and Adam and Noel Van Usen out of Dayton, and Niall Flores, and some of the Angela Bergman and Rich Robenkoff and Jeff Chandler, and I'm trying to think of some of the other people. They just and if I have to leave for a few minutes, they kind of keep an eye on him. We'll talk to him. What a fantastic community we are involved in. But anyhow, I digress. Ann Arbor, I am going to help out at WordCamp Pittsburgh, first time WordCamp in the city of Pittsburgh. It may be hard for some people from Michigan and Ohio to, cross over into that area because of the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates, but we'll make it. And then I am hoping that I can go to WordCamp US since it's so close to me. It's only 5 or 6 hours.
It's great. It's great. We hung out together last year, and we stayed in the same place, didn't we?
At yeah. Oh, that was
great.
fantastic. Yeah, and got to meet your co-workers, Steve and Joel. Is that
Right.
correct?
That's
And
right.
And then Adam came in, and I was about ready to go on Friday. I don't know why. I was just disgusted. But I'm a small town boy. I grew up in a town of about 200. There was no stoplights, and seeing me in a big city, probably a sight to behold. I think I had more people waving at me with their one finger. But yeah, I ended up having a fantastic time. I had to leave about noon on Saturday, but I got to go to the community event and had a fantastic time there. Even though I was like a fish out of water there, being a user and not a developer or designer, I still met some fantastic people and had a fantastic time. So, I'm probably hoping real hard to cap off the year with WordCamp US.
What a great testament, John, and very heartwarming story about your son, and great reflection on your experience at some of those events. I think WordCamp US was wonderful, and I'm so glad that WordCamp Ann Arbor has been positive for you. I'm very excited to see you and Michael in just a couple months here, up here in Michigan. So next question. You named a lot of great people that in your just heartwarming anecdote about your son and the community. Can you name some people that you think would be really good guests on this show that I should ask in the future?
Oh man. Well, I after you had invited me, I looked through your videos and I'm going, okay, well, there's somebody I would like to talk to. There's somebody I would like to talk to. I think you talked to Adam Warner. I think you talked to, oh shoot, she is involved with the training group, Beth Soderberg.
Oh, Beth.
Yes. I'll tell you what.
We've interviewed about 100 people now, or very close.
Yeah. Andrea Rennick.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about there? I think she would be a good one.
She's been on the show.
Oh, well, nuts. What about, he helps out at WordCamp Miami, I believe. David Bissett.
Oh, David Bissett.
Yeah, yes. Bissett.
That's right. He would be a great guest.
I think he would make a good one. Have you had Jeff Chandler or Marcus on? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. What about? Tell you what, you need to think outside the box.
All right.
I'm throwing it back on you, buddy.
Inside the box. All right.
They had that WP campus event this past weekend down in Florida. WordPress for educators, I think, or I'm sure there were some fantastic speakers there. You may have met one of them. He attended and spoke at Northeast Ohio. Joe Curran. You know who I'm talking about?
Right. Yes, I know
Okay.
Joe.
Okay. And I think his coworker also, I can't remember his name, but he gave a presentation also.
Damon, if I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Rich Coffey or Rich Robenkoff?
Rich was formerly a panelist on this show.
Ah, jeez. What about that Marc guy? Benzakein?
Zuckerberg?
Mullenweg?
Marc Benzakein is a current panelist on the show.
Yes.
However, was unable to make it tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like he's very occupied.
He's a busy fellow. ServerPress is a company he's a partner in, and they are very busy. And he also has a household full of kids that they're
what a fantastic story that is.
It really is very good, very heartwarming as well. Mark's a great person.
Yes, and there's a lot of them out there. My goodness, we could just go on and on about the great people that we have met, and even people that you've never heard of. Last year at, I know we're getting close on time, Ann Arbor. I talked to a lady, and I didn't get her name. She was probably in her late 50s, early 60s. She was a developer, and she had come from the graphic design field that she had been working in for like 40 years. So high school or college, she was doing things by hand and saw the writing on the wall apparently 10 or 15 years ago and trained herself and is a WordPress developer now. I wish I could remember her name, but I thought, oh my God, what a great story that would make. And I missed the boat, didn't get her name, and it's just a fond memory now.
Well, you may re-encounter her, and there's a good chance that I know her.
Yeah, could very well be. Yeah.
Yes. Well, this is my stomping ground, and I make it a point to be very much involved in everything that goes on WordPress related up in the mitten. But anywho, that's for another day. And this has been a good day.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Kyle. I most certainly do. I appreciate the invite. It was great talking to you. I don't know if you got interrupted with your Slack feed, but this pesky person from Allen, California was sending me messages.
That pesky person.
I know. We all have our groupies, I guess.
You can say that. You can say, yes, there were people. There were groupies tuning into your broadcast. So, yeah. John, I feel privileged to have gotten to spend my evening with you, and I look forward to many more evenings together with you and Michael as well, and the rest of the other folks we are blessed to call our WordPress amigos. So,
all right.
For now, if there's anything you would like to share before we wrap up, you can take a moment to do so. Encourage people to do something or take some kind of action.
I'm good. Wake up in the morning and go forth and take the day.
Carpe diem.
Yes.
Right on. Thank you, John. That is good advice. You are such a selfless giver and an important unsung hero in the WordPress community. So I am so grateful for all that you do on behalf of everyone else. Not that I can speak for them, but I will. Thank you for being such a great member of the community, and have a great night.
You too, Kyle. Thank you so much.